Hi, this is good old Jim in the garden. I have a townhome with minimal space. I've got about 90 square feet, which is not a lot, but it sure will grow a lot of vegetables. It actually is very rewarding work to do, and you eat what you grow, and that's also very, very rewarding. It's not hard work. The hardest part is actually preparing the soil in the very early spring to get it going. I'll have two growings this year. Probably the second one, well, I know the second one I'll have okra. The first one I don't do okra. So let's show you how I did it. Okay, we're in the mid of February, and it is time to start thinking about getting the garden going. But here's where we start. It is barren, it's got weeds. I gotta start pulling the weeds, and then I'll start turning the soil. This is where the work begins. It is March 1st, and it's time to turn the soil and get it ready for planting, which we hope to do in about the next week or so. And this way I turn over the compost. I put on the compost after I put the plants in about a month or so from now. And then I turn that over now, and every year it makes that soil richer and richer and richer. So we're going to get this all set up and ready to go. It's March 3rd, and the bed is made. It is now ready to plant. There will be, as you see with the cages, tomatoes in the middle, about 8 of them. And around the corners, edges, I will plant up the fence cucumbers and beans, blue lake green beans, and then bush blue lake green beans in front of the cucumbers. All is well, getting ready, having fun. I think I'm going to plant these beans. These seedlings I put inside, but I think they're over ready to put in the ground, even though it might be a little bit too cool already. Here's the first plant of the year. Put it right in here underneath the fence. Dig it down deep, and put this in. All right, put a little water around it. Water around it. All right, hang it up on the fence a little bit. Got some places to go. Pack the dirt in. Get it nice and soft. All right, there's the first plant of the season in the ground, ready to go. Many more to come. The first 5 plants are in. It's March 13th. The freezes are done, and it's time to plant the tomatoes. I do use the Husky Cherry Reds, and the Cherry Reds are very, very good type tomatoes to grow. I learned a long time ago that the big, fancy, beautiful tomatoes tend to get eaten by all the vermins, the possums and coons and rats and birds and stuff like that. They don't bother the Husky Cherry Reds. So here we go. I'll show you how I get them planted. Okay, I have 8 spots laid out based upon where the cages will be that will house the plants and to keep them carefully spaced. I've got them all laid out, and now I will go ahead and put them in the ground. Here goes number 1. Dig the hole, not a big deal. Make it deep enough. Put it in there. All right. Get a little dirt in, get it around. Got good soil this year, very good soil. Get the pot out of it. All right. There, good root system. Put that in, and very simply, pat the dirt in. Not hard, very easy to do. Anybody can do it. Now that we have them in, we'll sprinkle a little bit of tomato fertilizer around the edges. Give them a little bit of a start. Give them something to grow on. And water them in. off they go. Now we'll get some beans in. I dug a little bit of a trench. I'm going to use a bush Blue Lake bean, and so the bush beans will be out in front of the cucumbers, which are going to grow up the fence. These are the Bush Blue Lake 47s. On my way, I'm going to put them in about every 3 inches, and later on you'll see how I thin them down to about 6 inches. So we just put them very simply, put them in about 3 inches. No big deal. Put them in, right, about 3 inches, and then we take them and cover them up. They're about maybe a half an inch under the ground. That's all there is to that. I'll leave a little trench there so I can water them in. Okay, it's March 29th. The beans seeds have popped up just here and there, and they're all jammed together. So now I will separate them to be about 12 inches apart. Now the beans are separated every 12 inches apart. That'll give them good spacing. And the early ones down low, and the later ones a little bit later on. And it's April 9th, and the tomatoes are starting to go. They're getting some active on them. I've cleaned out all the weeds and stuff all around them, and I'm about ready to put on some compost. Now I will put on some organic compost, which has manure in it. It'll richen the earth. I use this instead of a mulch because it keeps the weeds down, and it with a little bit of water, it soaks through. It also puts nutrients in the soil and prepares the soil actually for next year. You also notice I have a few marigolds posted in here. They also are supposed to take, I'm finding out, but they're supposed to keep the insects and worms and stuff like that out of the plants. Have it all in now, and don't be afraid to put it on heavy. $1.65 bag, 3 bags. It's got a good coating, probably 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch tall. So it's good protection and good nutrients for the bushes. And I've got them back there, got all of that done. So we're in good shape. April 9th. April 12th. Now we're going to finish putting the compost manure along the long fence, around the beans, and the darn cucumbers that are having trouble getting going. And then we're going to put in, to make the area nice, when I bought the $5 for $10 deal on the mulch, we're going to put mulch around the walkway so that it actually look pretty. Mulch, compost in, looking really nice. Everything looks like it's in order. I have a nice walking area here around my plants. Be easier to pick the vegetables when they're ready. And I've got the area covered completely well over here, which is where I store my nursery stock. Alright, we're going to try something a little bit different this year too. Something I just got tipped from a friend of mine. This is bananas in water. It's a nasty mess, but supposedly produces big blooms, etc. It makes it all pretty and nice, and actually another type of fertilizer with lots of phosphorus. We're going to make sure they get a good supply of this. Everything was going well in the vegetable garden until I realized my fence was about to fall over. It's got some play in it. It's got some tons of play. We got to do something about that. It seems that the post was rotted at the bottom. So instead of the post holding the fence up, the fence was holding the post up. We went and got another post. Dug a 2-foot hole in the bottom, Cemented it in real well down at the bottom with white cement I had left over from that wall I painted with white cement paint. Now I got that in the ground and we're securing it at the top. I pulled it in with the ropes and have a nice strap that I've attached to hold it and secure. I'll probably put a strap on the other side just to make sure. This fence is not falling down in the hurricane. April 28th, and everything's really moving along. The beans are going to have lots of beans in here. You can see the bush beans and the pole beans are growing way up the fence. And finally, the cucumber has grabbed a hold of the fence. So all is working, all is well. The new cucumbers I put in are back here. They're just getting their feet planted. And then tomatoes are coming right along. Actually, there are going to be a few tomatoes in here in not too distant a future, as you can see. May 4th. It's time to pick some beans. 53 days after planting the seeds, they are ready to eat. It's May 13th, 2 months after planting the tomatoes. I have red ones ready to eat and more, plenty more to come, probably for about 2 months. I'll be eating plenty of tomatoes. So tomatoes, beans, I have cucumbers coming. I'll do a second planting in the end of July or so. That'll include all of these, plus okra I'll add to the mix. So all the way eating until probably into December, at least October to November. So I do hope you enjoyed and learned something from the video. Happy gardening from good old Jim.